Hey y'all, so if you recall in my last video, I had already filled out the June calendar spread, but I realized I made some mistakes and I wanted more space here. So I just extended the margin so that I'd be able to do it. So here it is again. I filled in the numbers so I wouldn't have to do it again. And so I'm going to take you through what I do when it comes to setting up a new month in regards to goal setting and also getting ready for the week. So come along. So I typically don't really give too much attention to this page just because I like to put events on my digital Google Calendar. But what I've noticed is that writing in things here at the start of the month actually allows me to see where there are pockets of days where I don't have anything going on and how full the month is at the beginning of the month, if that makes any sense. So because I went to my Google Calendar and I was like, oh man, I need to look at the month overview. But like my calendar has literally my school schedule, it has my husband's schedule, it has like things for my kids. It's jam-packed. There's a lot going on there. So this just lets me see like bird's eye view, hey, what's going on for the month. And as you can see, it's a pretty the month is pretty full and it makes sense. It's June, it's the end of the school year. There are a lot of end of school year things going on and things that I'm responsible for. So yeah, it's pretty packed. But this allows me to really understand, hey, are there any pockets of time where I can squeeze in the other things that I want to get done for the month? So habit tracking. Okay, so there are several things that I kind of from the beginning of the year have been trying to establish as habits for myself. Some of them I've been pretty good at doing, but I just noticed because it's the end of the school year, I've kind of fallen off on a few of them. So I'm gonna choose to kind of track a few things here that I want to make sure that I'm sticking to because they're actually really good for my well-being. I just started a new health regimen in terms of like things that I'm taking in terms of vitamins to kind of help me with energy and help me with just making sure I'm getting all the things that I need so that I'm staying healthy and fit for the sake of my kids. So I'm gonna go ahead and write the things down that I really needed to keep track of. So here we are. These are the things that keep me together: Bible, exercise, and sleep. So I need to keep track of that. So moving on, I added this extra calendar, and this is where I'm going to start to kind of map out what I want to do in terms of content, because I'd like to be consistent. And one thing that I noticed that I was resisting doing was actually going through with mapping out what that means. And so my added challenge to actually have a space where I can do that so that I don't avoid it, because it is important to me that I stay consistent and share all the things that I know would be beneficial to you as a community. So I have this content calendar. I'm going to fill it out with some ideas that I have of things that I want to share. So I'll be back. Now that that is done, we can move on into this section where I start the whole process of goal setting. So as I mentioned in my last video, I like to start with a big dump in this inbox. Now, because I already did one for last month, I'm actually going to take a look at what's on that list and see what I did not finish. So let me flip over back to May. All right, here we go. All right. Now, this is my list for May. This list was pretty long. It was 2 pages long. And I highlighted the things that I actually got to do and crossed out the things that literally were no longer important to me. And as you can see, like, you know, there's a lot of things that are highlighted. Oh, I forgot to highlight one more thing because this thing is done. Okay, that was done. Anyways, there's a lot of stuff here that's almost finished, but not quite yet. So what I'm going to do is go through this list and take it from this list if it's really still important and bring it back to my other inbox, and then list a few more things that came up as I, have been going through the month that are important. Okay. So now that that's done, I have my list, and it's one page right now, but I know that as the days go on, I'm going to have a ton of other things that kind of come up that I may remember later on. So this is just my list for now. Now it's time for goal setting. These are just like things that popped out of my head that I know I need to do. I'm going to go back to my goals for last month. Okay. Now, in my last video, I talked about how I set 3 goals, knowing that one of them may probably fall by the wayside, or I might not get to it. So here are my goals for last month. I know I needed to really continue to think about how I spend time with my family. I had a project that I was working on for my kids at school, mini master, and then also I wanted to focused on content for this channel. So I listed a whole bunch of different things that I wanted to do with the family revamp time. I wanted to do 15-minute check-in, dinner a certain amount of times a week, and prayer, and like business meeting, date nights, all the lofty goals that I could think of, right? And I did map out like when I would do these things. Like dinner would be on Monday, Thursdays, and Fridays, and the prayer night would be on a certain day. I had all these things that I wanted to do. But what I found myself really focusing on was this goal right here on Mini Master, because it was super time sensitive. In fact, I'm gonna be executing this project this month, so I really need to make sure that all the action items were done so that I would be ready to go with this project next week. In terms of content, I wanted to do a whole calendar and notes on ideas that I had. And I was able to get out that first video, and I wrote down a list of ideas for content. And so the only thing that really didn't get done that I just did was the content calendar. So check on this one for sure. Check on this one, and not a full check here. So I'm gonna actually spiral this goal number 1 into my new set of goals, because it is still important. And so I'm gonna go through the reflection part here. Okay. Now, I revamped the page for what it should look like. It's the same set of questions. It just looks a little different. So in the reflection section, I have the following things that I want to think about. So I'm going to look at the goals that I set last month, and I wanted to, and as I just did, reflect on what I was able to accomplish, what was I not able to get to, and think about reasons why or why not. Right? And think about what the major roadblocks were. And then something I wanted to consider is like, is this still a priority, the goal that I didn't get to? And does it help you get to your overarching goals for the year? If yes, how so? And so I'm really going to think about the family time and how that relates to my goals for the year, for my family as a priority in my life. And then the next question is, if no, can you make peace with this goal not being accomplished? If yes, then acknowledge that you can't do everything and let it go. And if no, then go back to the drawing board. You may need to delegate this task to a third party or seek help. And then the next process would be to look at my inbox, my brain dump, and see if there's anything that's super pressing that really needs to get done this month and is really a priority. And then think about how it relates to my goals for the year. And then finally, is there anyone or anything that I need to follow up with or check in on? So I'm going to go ahead and fill those out. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I am done reflecting, and a few things kind of came up as I was answering these questions. It was clear to me that um, family time is really something I want to continue to work on, because my goal for this year was to prioritize how we are intentionally connecting with each other and also creating good memories and moments as a family. So for me, I think that we are winning on the taking time with each other. So Sunday afternoons, we have been trying to be intentional about going out together, whether it's to go eat something or just go do something, go to our bookstore that we like to go to, whatever it is, just something together before winding down and getting ready for the week. So that has been really good. Kind of takes care of the dinner part. But I do want to make sure that during the week, we are taking time to add at least one other quick check-in dinner together. Something we were able to do, I was able to do this month, was the 15 minutes of checking in time with each person. And did it this month, and I learned a lot. There are just a lot of things, and I highly recommend, if you don't already do this with your family, taking 15 minutes per person to just ask how was your day and like leave room for that open conversation. You'll learn a lot from your kids. So that is still something that's a priority. I want to continue to work on that because I want us to have a solid family foundation for all the things that are changing in our lives. I want to make sure we're all good. And now when it came to looking at my inbox brain dump area, to kind of see what are pressing projects that I have going on, it is kind of feeling like a challenge for me to summarize it as like one overarching goal, because I have like these little one-off things that need to get done in different categories. So like things that might need to get done for school, church, family, but they don't all kind of like sit as a goal per se. So I feel like for this month, I'm just gonna categorize things a little differently, and it may just end up being that I have two, maybe not three goals. I'll put a third one, but it will feel more like a category. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I know family is still my number one because there's still stuff to do there. So I'm gonna spiral it as a goal for this month. But I think something else is personal check-ins, because last month my family caught COVID, so we were out of commission for a good 2 weeks, and which didn't leave time or room to really connect with other people the way that I want to, and also not do some of the things I needed to do in the bucket of some things that are important. So I'm going to go ahead and write down my goals based on what I've reflected upon, and I'll be back. All right. So finally figured it out. So I have family time revamp, check-ins with friendships, and then closing out church action items. So that's how I kind of categorize the goals, because they are important. Wrote them down, spaces for most of it. It's really making sure to put things on the calendar, because I find that when I do that and I've actually solidified something with people, that it actually turns out better. I'll actually do it. So I'm finally done with my goal setting. So I kind of have a focus on what I need to make sure is important. So the next step would be to then go into my week and plan out, well, what is this week going to look like for me? So here we are. This is for the week. I decided to put in a smaller version of that inbox checklist, because I'm going to put in the things from the big inbox that I think are important for me to focus on this week, and then anything else that just pops up. This space down here, I can scribble things down that might be, hey, I need to follow up, or I can use it as a space to help me decide what's important, like an Eisenhower matrix. It's just kind of a free space. I appreciate free space when I have things to do. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put in the different things that I'm gonna work on by day, okay? Now that I have that done, I'm gonna actually go ahead and decide on what day can I actually do these things, given the schedule that I have. The schedule is pretty interesting because we had Memorial Day on Monday, so that was really a day just to spend time with family. So didn't really get to do much of anything that had to do with this. So I am going to fill in the spaces that I can do this, and if I can't, then I might have to delegate it or something, or just say next week. Okay, so I filled everything in. Now I know what's going to happen. This is like my best possible schedule, right? This is my ideal schedule. But what's going to really happen is some of these things are going to be shifted from one day to the next, but the goal is that it all gets done by the end of the week because they are important to me. Now, something that I feel like is, I think, the best thing and why I like this little calendar thing over here is because I just love highlighting the week that we're on. Like, actually, that's my most favorite part out of everything that I do here. And I have to say, I really love this template. Now, down here I have my follow-up and then my top 3 section. Okay, out of everything that I have here, my top 3 has to do with the goals that I set for the month. So my goals were around family, around friendships, and around church action items. So for family, the important thing that I want to make sure that I get done is calendar family time. So I'm not going to calendar check-ins because that's just something I'm doing with everyone, but like dinner and like our prayer time and meetings, I'm going to make sure I add that to the calendar this week. And then friendships, I'm going to reach out to set updates. And then like church action items, I'm going to actually schedule meetings so that we can handle some of those action items and get them done by the end of the month. So that's just to help me remember, hey, you said these are important, so get it done, ma'am, get it done. So that's that. My week is planned, everything is done. I literally went through 2 rounds of brain dumping because what I found last month is that I made this super big inbox, right? I had this thing over here and it had a million things on it. And I just kept feeling a little overwhelmed because I was like, oh my God, this list is pretty long and I have to actually, the pressure was on to actually complete it. So I thought this month what would make the most sense would be to, yes, have the big brain dump, but then break them down into smaller lists because new things were popping up as the week would go on. So do this on a smaller scale weekly so that I can then scale it over here just to make sure I'm more intentional. There are a few things that I realized that I kept pushing back, and it's not because they weren't important. It was just because I was just not, I didn't want to do them. I'm not the only one. Some of you guys have things that you don't want to do either, but they're important. So in goal setting, my goal is to force myself to tackle the things that I don't really want to do, but I know they're super important. So it helps me keep the main thing. So I almost forgot to show you guys the lesson plan sheet. Now, It's a little skinty this week because, as you know, as school is closing down, they have all the events, right? So on Monday, we had Memorial Day. I'll try to make it cute. And then on Thursday happens to be our field day. So that means there are no classes in session. And actually, it would have been my heaviest day. So I am having a pretty light week, to be honest, which is great because things are winding down for us. So this is my week. I wrote down what my plans are, literally testing, ending the school year with our final unit of geometry for both, all four of my sections. And so we're just going to be reviewing and taking a test. That's it. Nothing fancy, but if this were a more packed week, there'd be a lot more details. The kids already have their review packet, so I don't need to write much more than just review here because it's already planned out. So my week is planned. This side is so sad. It's so lonely because I don't have any small groups this week either. So I'll have my final small group next week. So I will make notes on that then. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you for joining me. And if you have any questions, put them down in the comments below. Please share any takeaways that you might have or ideas that, you got from this video, or also things that you'd like to see me cover in my next video. It was great having you. Don't forget to subscribe, and bye.